Welcome back to another episode of 40 Facts About the 40K Universe. I am your host Gershwan, and today we're going to be talking about Chaos Dreadnoughts. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. We post Warhammer 40K lore videos every single day. If you have any suggestions, please comment down below. And if you enjoy our content, thank our patrons on Patreon. It is because of them that we can do this. Link in the description if you guys want to support us. But with that said, let's get into 40 facts on the Chaos Dreadnoughts. Just like their loyalist counterparts, a mortally wounded Chaos Space Marine can be saved by placing his body into a cybernetic sarcophagus that contains multiple life support technologies, often at the hands of the Dark Mechanicus. This sarcophagus is then placed within the armored form of a combat walker that the sarcophagus's inhabitant can control using neural impulses. For the loyalists, this is simply a dreadnought, but for the heretical Astartes of a traitor legion, this is known as a Chaos Ferrum Infernus Dreadnought. Many of the same procedures are performed for this pattern of dreadnought, and although it is easy for inexperienced Imperial forces to believe that these massive war machines are hellbrutes, the Ferrum Infernus Dreadnought has not undergone any of the mutational processes that are common amongst the hellbrutes. This fate is often given to those heretical Astartes that have proven to be capable warriors, but have not gained the favor of any of the Chaos Gods. And while entombment into a dreadnought is an honor for a loyalist Astarte, most Chaos Space Marines do not see this fate as an honor at all, but as a destiny to be avoided at all costs. This is because being trapped within the armored shell of a dreadnought, while being enforced with the powers of chaos, drives the Chaos Space Marine insane, and transforms the resulting Ferrus Infernus Dreadnought into an unstoppable and incredibly bloodthirsty killing machine, losing all sanity. As a result, far from being revered for their wisdom and experience like their Imperial counterparts, all Chaos Dreadnoughts are shackled securely when not in combat, because the crippled Chaos Space Marine within them is driven insane by the millennia of being trapped within a cold cybernetic sarcophagus as the powers of chaos warp his mind and spirit. They are used as insane behemoths to trample the enemy and are regarded with caution, as the madman within the Dreadnought can turn his wrath upon his comrades if there are no enemies within range. It is exactly this unreliability that led Abaddon the Despoiler to call for the creation of the Defiler as a replacement for the Traitor Legion's Dreadnoughts. This is also why most Chaos Dreadnoughts carry within them the maniacal remains of an Astarte warrior that dates back 10,000 Terran years ago. As they are not wise or even reliable by any standards, Chaos Dreadnoughts are usually designated as fire support or frontal close combat assault units rather than elite warriors. They are also armed with similar weapons as their loyalist counterparts. These include dreadnought close combat weapons, such as claws or energy-infused whips or flails, or twin-linked autocannons, las cannons, and heavy bolters. Chaos Dreadnoughts are also sometimes fitted with multi-meltas and plasma cannons to provide enhanced armor-piercing abilities, but often prove erratic or unstable in combat, and as a result, few Chaos Space Marine warbands will make use of them unless there is little other choice, and will prefer to use other, more reliable demonic engines. That's not to say that there hasn't been any successful and powerful Chaos Dreadnoughts. The following are two examples of Chaos Dreadnoughts that maintain their sanity and terrorize the Imperium of Man. Like so many Chaos Space Marine Dreadnoughts, Malcharion, also known as the War Sage, first made a name for himself during the Great Crusade as captain of the Night Lord's Legion's 10th Company. He would side with his Primarch Conrad Kirsch during the Horus Heresy, where he went on to slay 3 loyalist champions during the Siege of Terra. First, Zurmai Khan, Swordmaster Captain of the White Scar's 9th Company, and then Lethandrus the Templar, Paladin of the Imperial 5th Legion, and finally Raguel the Sufferer, Captain of the Blood Angel 7th Company. He slayed all 3 champions, all in one single day. However, after this feat, the famed commander and wise strategist of the Night Lords was interned within a dreadnought. The dreadnought sarcophagus depicted Malcharion holding 2 Astarte helms with his foot resting on a third, representing the 3 Astarte champions he killed. The dreadnought's right arm was a Reaper pattern double-barrel autocannon, and the left arm a power fist and a flamer. Malcharion actually never wanted to be revived as a dreadnought, and initially refused every attempt to be awakened until the Battle of Krythe. Like many in the Night Lords, Malcharion has remained fiercely loyal to the original vision of his Primarch, and has a disdain for the ruinous powers, as well as the Chaos Space Marines who serve them, most notably Abaddon the Despoiler. He is also loyal to Talos Valcoran, whom he believes shares many qualities with his slain Primarch. In the late 41st millennium, the dreadnought holding Malcharius' remains was awoken by Talos during his power struggle with the Exalted, who attempted to prevent the ancient captain and his hated rival from threatening his power over the elite unit known as the First Claw, as this represented the first time Malcharion had ever been awakened since being placed within the Dreadnought chassis. Malcharion went on to lead an assault on Krythe with the Black Legion against the forces of the Imperium, including the Blood Angels. Just as the First Claws were about to be deployed to the surface of the invasion, Talos had another vision, showing that the Blood Angels were not several solar weeks out, as had been predicted, but instead were going to arrive imminently. The Exalted refused to take action with this information, but when Malcharion was informed, he immediately started withdrawing the Night Lords. As Talos predicted, the Blood Angels emerged from the warp and deployed boarding pods onto the Echo of Damnation. Malcharion responded to Talos' request for reinforcements, and once again faced Ragwell, the Sufferer, now also interned within a Dreadnought. Both Dreadnoughts were mortally wounded in the struggle, leaving Ragwell dead at the hands of the Night Lords once more. Talos chose not to let the Dark Mechanicum tech priest, Deltrian, attempt to recover Malcharion, so that the Dreadnought could finally have the eternal sleep he desired. However, Talos was revoked by Malek, who ordered Deltran to repair and sustain the life of Malcharion, and the sarcophagus was returned to the Hall of Remembrancers, but hidden from view to prevent Talos from discovering that Malcharion had survived. Talos would eventually find that Malcharion had survived when Deltran transferred the sarcophagus onto the Echo of Damnation, at which point he ordered Malcharion to be awakened. Initially, it appeared that the damage Malcharion had suffered at the battle weighed too severely. His mind seemed to have been shattered, as attempts to awaken him only resulted in a constant screaming across the Vox link of the Dreadnought chassis. It was believed that Malcharion was ruined beyond recovery, and it was suggested that he could be controlled through pain injectors and focus excruciators, making him still a formidable foe on the battlefield. Talos would not allow this as a fate for a hero of the 8th Legion, and instead intended to end the perceived torture by killing Malcharion. In the end, however, he couldn't go through with it, and instead he chose to destroy the console connected to Malcharion to abort the awakening sequence. Although it appeared that Talos had succeeded in killing Malcharion, instead the Dreadnought finally awakened, correctly and fully functional. Malcharion descended into the catacombs of the Carrion world to aid Talos and his warband in his final stand against the assault of the Eldar Ulthwé Azurani, although he chose to fight alone, as the constant praise from the other First Claws irritated him. The Dreadnought took extensive damage from the Eldari, but managed to return to the surface to summon a gunship for the crew. This was his final action before he was at last granted the permanent sleep he had long craved. And then there's Warsmith Berossos. Warsmith Berossos' battle honor stretched back to the Great Crusade, as he fought alongside his Primarch Perturabo and earned the honor of being Warsmith of the 2nd Battalion of the Iron Warriors. During the heresy, he sided with the traitors and fought valiantly against the followers of the Corpse Emperor. At the command of Warmaster Horus, the Iron Warriors were sent to halt an encroaching Imperial Fist fleet that had originally been sent to Isfahan III by Rogel Dorn himself to reinforce the beleaguered loyalists trapped on that world. This battle would be remembered as the Battle of Foul. Check out the link above if you want to learn more about this epic void battle between the two rival legions. Berossos had the misfortune of delivering the bad news of the outcome of the battle to his Primarch, whose volatile mood had steadily worsened since the slaughter of Isfahan V. He had hoped his position as a warsmith would have kept him from harm, but it was to be a fool's hope, for Perturabo's rage didn't discriminate, and he assaulted the warrior. On the orders of his Primarch, Berossos was eventually encased within the shell of a Chaos Dreadnought to be tormented across the centuries. Unlike most Chaos Dreadnoughts, Berossos is sane of mind. He is able to exercise his own command because he has not been driven insane by the internment within a Dreadnought's armor. By the late 41st millennium, on the demon world of Mendragard, Berossos and his fellow warsmith, Taramino, were angered over Warsmith Hanzo's refusal to share the Imperial Fist gene seed that was stolen from the Hydra Cordatus during the 13th Black Crusade, and so declared war against him. The aggressive Berossos had his Grand Company lay siege to Hanzo's citadel, and although the losses proved high, he succeeded in breaching the citadel's walls. Facing Hanzo in close combat, Berossos nearly killed Hanzo with a siege drill. Unfortunately, victory was torn from his grasp when Hanzo's life was saved by the demonic life ward, Onyx, who managed to breach Berossos' Dreadnought carapace. Hanzo then reached inside the Dreadnought shell and ripped out the Mind Impulse unit and tore out Berossos' head before all to see. Berossos' warband then defected to the service of Hanzo shortly thereafter. And those were 40 facts on Chaos Dreadnoughts. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys have suggestions for any other Chaos unit, let me know in the comment section below. I'll try to create a video for you, or any other topics really. Right now what I want to do is I want to keep working on the whole concept of what it would be like if like one faction or one entity took control over the 40K galaxy. Like what would that be like? So if you have any suggestions for that, let me know in the comment section below. Thanks for listening, guys, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. This is Gershwan with One Mind Syndicate signing out.
Always used to put my freedom first in any situation.